29th agenda session to order. Can I get approval on the minutes?
So moved.
Okay, minutes stand without objection. Council, if you will take a look at your agenda for this evening, we have ordinances under final reading, under planning items. If you have any questions or comments, please hit your light. All right. Have, ordinances on the final reading wastewater. Ordinances on the first reading on the transportation. We have, some abandonments. Any questions or comments? All right. Madam Vice Chair.
Should we expect any kind of delay on any of those planning items or the public works items?
Yes, there may be a delay for items, A and B. So
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Under Human Resources, item C, I've been in contact with Daniel on some questions that I had raised back, I think in April, and we are scheduled to sit down and go over a few of those items to make sure that we're clear and that I understand the changes that were made in relation to the suggestions. So I'll let anybody from the staff announce if there's any type of deferral or action needed on their part. I'll let them make that decision, but
Okay.
wanted to announce that. Thank you.
All right, and I believe Jermaine had a comment for that as well. Thank you, Councilman Ledford.
Yes, I'll invite Daniel to come up for just a second to share some thoughts, and then we'll go from there. Daniel.
Thank you. Just asking for a 2-week deferral so that we can clear up any of the questions so that everything is crystal clear before I ask for your vote of approval.
Right. Okay, requesting a 2-week deferral. Okay, all right. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank
Any other
you.
questions?
No, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, if you take a look at resolutions, we've already covered item C. We have items under Parks and Outdoors, Public Works. Any other questions or comments for those items on our agenda? All right, I would say look at next week's proposed agenda, but we don't have a meeting next week, so there's that. Any questions about purchasing? Any purchasing questions? All right. Hit your light. If you will take a look at future considerations. Any questions, comments? All right. We don't have any departmental reports, and we do have a committee today. We have the Affordable Housing Committee. And then following that, we will have an attorney-client meeting following that Affordable Housing meeting. So with that, I will turn it over to Madam Vice Chair.
Call to order the Affordable Housing Committee. Can I get a motion on the minutes?
Second.
Thank you. Today, we're going to be receiving an update from our Chief Housing Officer. We also have the mayor here, I see, so perhaps we'll hear from him as well about the Housing Action Plan. This is part of several months' worth of effort that the administration has been putting in place so that we can move forward on this critical issue in our community. So Nicole, if you could join us.
Thank you. I think if it's all right, I'm going to allow Mayor Kelly to make remarks before I give my presentation.
Certainly. Welcome, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you all for having me. I'll keep my remarks relatively brief, but I just wanted to underscore the importance of this plan. It's a privilege to be here and have an opportunity to talk to you about this next step, this giant step towards addressing our affordable housing needs in Chattanooga. As you very well know, Chattanooga's faced a sizable deficit of affordable housing units for years. When I took office, I challenged my team to think big about ways to solve the problem, and we have taken some big actions to date. We hired the city's first ever chief housing policy, of course, Nicole Heyman, to spearhead our efforts, and Nicole has tremendously improved the collaboration between the city, the county, and with a network of housing providers, developers, CDFIs, and local banking institutions. And in fact, just today, we have Sydney Shivers, our Director of Housing Policy, who's starting with us. Sydney can say hello, right? She's new to us, also from the city of New Orleans. Two big steals that I'm proud of. We committed to a 5-year, $100 million suite of affordable housing initiatives designed to attack the issue from every angle. By leveraging our Affordable Housing Fund and improving alignment of both existing and new programs, we're preserving our existing affordable rental units and building new ones. Through efforts like the Eviction Prevention Initiative and our home program, we're providing financial and consultative resources to help keep people in their homes when circumstances are tough. Our down payment assistance program, a very popular program, it's opening pathways to home ownership for people for whom home ownership was previously out of reach. We've already had 4 closings and multiple more are in the queue, so that's extremely encouraging. And our rapid rental repair program is assisting landlords with rental unit turnover repairs to quickly get affordable units back on the market. So I'm proud of the progress we've made thus far. These are just a few examples of successes we've had, but frankly, they are playing at the margins. Now is our chance to double down on the effort and make sure we address this problem in a permanent and a persistent way. Our recent market analysis shows that without additional action, Chattanooga could see a deficit of 7,000 affordable housing units by 2030. That means 7,000 working families, teachers, police officers, firefighters, our folks in the hospitality industry too, who simply will not be able to afford to live in the city of Chattanooga. And that is flatly unacceptable. And that is why we must have a robust housing action plan. About 6 months ago, Nicole and her team brought in experts to do this housing needs analysis to help us get a clear picture of what the true needs are here on the ground. And this housing action plan is a set of very clear and specific recommendations about how we can go in and address those needs. It's an actionable set of policy and programmatic recommendations that we can implement to ensure accessible housing for all Chattanoogans. Some of the recommendations in the plan are already implemented, some are in the works, and some are brand new. But by adopting the framework, we can achieve better alignment across all the work in the various departments inside and outside the city that touch on and support housing, from LDO to RPA, and accelerate progress towards a comprehensive, coordinated approach to achieving our affordable housing goals. I mean, this is complicated stuff, and it requires an expert touch, and we're lucky to have Nicole and now Sydney in that capacity. So in summary, the Housing Action Plan is designed to be our guiding policy document moving forward. The plan is a culmination of months, and I want to emphasize this, of deep research and careful analysis. So again, I want to thank Nicole and her team and thank HRNA for all the hard work that went into it, and we should all consider it with appropriate gravity. But today is also just the beginning of the most important part, the real work of making it happen. We'll be coming back to this body to ask for the plan's adoption, and in subsequent weeks and months to ask for a series of policy updates needed to create an environment in Chattanooga that is as conducive as possible within the confines of state law to promote affordable housing development. So, for the first time in our history, we have a playbook that we can help to become the city we all want Chattanooga to be, a place where anyone who wants to call Chattanooga home can do so, regardless of who they are or how much money they make. I can assure you all that our team is going to be working hard on increasing housing supply and driving down housing costs using this plan as their playbook. So, without further ado, I will reintroduce our resident expert, Chief Housing Officer Nicole Heyman, to tell you more about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, very much. And thank you for welcoming me here today to present to you our housing action plan. Jermaine's passing out an actual copy of the plan. It'll also be available online at the end of this meeting. But I do want to thank you for allowing me to come today to present to you this very important plan. And I look forward to answering your questions after the presentation. The Chattanooga Housing Plan is intended to be a living document to be used by city staff, elected officials, and the community to guide affordable housing policies and investments over the next 5 years. The recommendations outlined in the plan will enhance and expand the city's affordable housing toolkit while centering racial equity in housing within Chattanooga. The foundation for this plan is rooted in the vision and goals of One Chattanooga and will serve as our North Star as we work with our partners to ensure that every Chattanoogan has an affordable place to call home. This plan, as the mayor said, has been 6 months in the making. We started studying conditions on the ground in March 2023. We now have an understanding of the housing needs in our community and the number of units that are needed to ensure housing for all Chattanoogans. This plan lays out the tools and programs needed to ensure we are increasing the production and preservation of units affordable to our working families to meet the needs that we now know exist. I'll be back here September 12th to discuss the market value analysis, which is a tool to inform us where we need to focus our efforts and provide a roadmap for future investments. Housing development in Chattanooga has not kept pace with its population and economic growth, leading to a new and growing housing affordability problem. Rents are rising much faster than incomes. Our rental affordability has decreased tremendously and is still plummeting. In 2021, we had 90 affordable homes for every 100 residents earning $35,000 annually or less. By 2030, that number will decrease to 50 affordable homes to families earning $35,000 annually, unless we take action immediately. When it comes to home ownership, we are seeing fewer households that can achieve home ownership. Today, we have 6,100 fewer owner households earning less than $100,000 a year, and as we did at that income level in 2011. And we continue to see significant racial inequities as white households making between $100,000 and $150,000 a year are denied a mortgage 4% of the time, while Black households making that exact same amount of money are denied mortgages 12% of the time. Skyrocketing housing prices have the greatest impact on our families earning $35,000 annually or less. This income bracket includes our preschool teachers, our bus drivers, and our seniors. Seniors on Social Security earn an average of $21,000 a year and are being hit especially hard. In terms of unit numbers, that means that today we have a deficit of 1,700 units affordable to families making under $35,000 annually. By 2030, that number could grow to over 7,000 units if we don't take action. Between 2017 and 2021, we built 336 affordable rental units and 21 affordable homeownership units using HUD grant investments. That level of production is not going to be enough. We need to do something big and bold, or our residents, the working men and women who are the backbone of our city, won't be able to afford to stay here. And without them, we cannot have an inclusive, thriving city where robust economic development investments bring new, better-paying jobs and opportunities for our working families. We need to create an environment that supports a dramatic increase in the amount of new housing that's brought online and intentionally supports the preservation of what we already have now. The Housing Action Plan spells out the tools we need to create, refine, or expand to meet our housing needs. Government subsidy alone cannot fix this problem. The scale of the problem requires a scale of investment that can only be achieved through a public-private partnership. We must partner with our business leaders, development community, lenders, philanthropy, and nonprofit organizations to bring new resources and investments to the table. Our collective capacity to address the housing needs we face must be equal to the problem we are trying to solve. We must partner to increase resources and capacity to meet the need. Where we find ourselves today is not a failure of our past. It is a challenge for the future. We have to increase the supply of rental properties, but we need to be just as intentional about preserving affordable rental units and ensuring they are quality, safe housing options for our community. The first two recommendations on this slide speak to the development of new housing. The third recommendation, establishing a loan fund, is about access to capital to preserve naturally occurring rental properties by financing the acquisition and rehabilitation of the units and ensuring they remain affordable for our working families. Home ownership remains the pathway to building wealth in America. We must continue to invest in programs that ensure that every Chattanoogan has the opportunity to achieve home ownership and build generational wealth. To achieve the goal, we must find ways to support the development of homes at reasonable price points. And we must help families access those reasonably priced homes through down payment assistance. Finally, we must help our homeowners stay in their homes through investments in homeowner-occupied repair programs. Homelessness should be rare, brief, and non-recurring. To achieve this goal, we have to invest in a low-barrier shelter, and we must increase production of permanent supportive units. We also need to expand the pool of landlords that are willing to take housing choice vouchers and continue to make investments in our outreach programs and eviction prevention program. We must unify as a city to break down barriers that prevent equitable access to affordable housing opportunities and become intentional about ensuring that all of our policies and programs are developed through an equity lens. While it may take added effort to create these pathways, the work will pale in comparison to the outcome. Affordable and stable housing has the ability to create generational change, strengthen communities, impact our economy, and help us realize the dream of being one Chattanooga. The Housing Action Plan is a robust set of recommendations, some of which are already in development and being implemented as we speak. They include, as the mayor referenced, the down payment assistance program the city launched in partnership with C&E in July. I am pleased to report that several families have already closed on their loans and are settling into their new homes, while others are pre-qualified for the program and are house hunting. This is a huge win in a very short period of time. We've awarded the RFP for the revolving loan fund to a CDFI partner and are in contract negotiations today. We've issued an RFP with the intention of scaling our owner-occupied repair program to make grants and no-interest loans available to our seniors and vulnerable communities to ensure they stay in their homes and pass along their generational wealth. Our housing resource fairs have been hugely successful, and I'm very excited to announce that our next resource fair will be on September 7th in Councilmember Knoll's district, followed quickly by our October resource fair in Councilmember Hester's district. With programming well underway, our attention is now focused on the immediate next steps that we'll bring to council. And those include expanding our pilot and TIF policies. We also are going to focus on increasing the capacity of our nonprofit development partners to allow us to scale development and preservation efforts. The current residential pilot program is a financial incentive in the form of tax abatement designed to encourage multifamily residential housing. It's usually coupled with our LIHTC development. We are proposing that you adopt a second and new pilot track specifically for the development of mixed income housing to encourage our market rate housing development partners to add affordability to their developments. This pilot track was developed in partnership with our housing development partners and in an effort to reduce the roadblocks to financing mixed-income development. We also have an opportunity to add to the inventory of affordable housing for Chattanoogans by amending our TIF policy. State law allows low or moderate income housing as an eligible project to be funded with TIF revenue. However, the City of Chattanooga's current ordinance prohibits the use of TIF for housing development. There is a significant opportunity to increase the inventory of affordable housing for our working families by expanding the local ordinance to align with the state enabling legislation so that we can include housing as a component of future TIFs. And finally, we must increase the capacity of our nonprofit community to allow them to produce and preserve affordable housing at scale. City funding for our nonprofit housing developers, whether through HUD grant dollars or more flexible subsidy investments through the Affordable Housing Fund, must be linked to clear deliverables in terms of production or preservation of housing units and other outcomes that support affordable housing programs and policies. And finally, I'll thank you again for the opportunity to present the housing plan to you today. This plan is rooted in the visions and goals of One Chattanooga and will serve as our North Star as we work with our partners to ensure that every Chattanoogan has an affordable place to call home.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
We appreciate the work that you and your team have put into this. Do I have any questions? Not yet?
It's a big plan. I'm happy to answer questions after you've had time to go through all 100 pages.
So, yeah, we do have quite a plan here, and I wonder from council if you might be interested in doing a work session as part of strategic planning. Getting some yes. Okay, I'll talk with the chair about getting that on the calendar so that once we've had some time to study this, that Nicole could help us dig into the elements with more specificity. I do have a question coming from, or a comment from Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A question for Nicole. In the development of this plan, what was the community input portion of this?
So we had an affordable housing working committee at the table that was comprised of developers, faith-based leaders, philanthropy, nonprofit organizations, our partners in the eviction prevention program. So we had a robust table conversation around development. We were very focused on bringing the folks to the table that are actually either producing or preserving affordable housing in the city, and also our for-profit development community partners, so that we could really understand where the roadblocks were and what the tools that we needed to either increase or enhance or add to the toolkit were. The hard work now will be where are we going to make these investments and going out and engaging community where they are so that we can develop on-the-ground programs that will, of course, involve community input on what happens in the neighborhoods across the city.
Will you be taking this plan, as you say, out into the communities, hosting sessions where people can come in and ask questions in addition?
I hope that we will continue to offer our housing resource fairs, and as part of that, perhaps for the one that we're going to host in Councilmember Hester's district, we'll have a panel set up to answer questions and continue to go into all of your council districts with the Housing Resource Fair so that we can continue to engage community. I think those are the best ways that we can engage community, is to continue to offer resources and answer questions in our resource fairs.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation, Ms.
Thank you.
Nicole. Are you aware of an organization called NACA?
I'm not.
They are in Memphis and, in Atlanta and several other places too. And where they're really great at is utilizing other resources to how to get people housed, so they take into consideration, like, if you rented a place for a year, or if you leased a car for a year, or, if you've made on-time payments, they go outside of the scope of what's traditionally used. They don't just consider like your credit score and all that kind of stuff. So I would love to get you connected with Esau, and see how they can be a part of the conversation of, helping people become housed in that way too.
Absolutely.
In a
Thank
non-traditional
you.
way.
Thank you, yes.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Councilman Hester?
I just want to say thank you for, as quoted by the mayor, the deep research, the careful analysis for this. And we're looking forward to digging into this. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Burrs?
Thank you so much. Great report.
Thank you.
When you were talking about certain people that got loans more quickly than others, are you talking about redlining?
Well, not exactly redlining in the traditional sense, because this is a much more recent report that the mortgage brokers, I think it's an association, releases data on an annual basis, and we were able to look at the most recent data that shows that unfortunately today people are still being denied mortgage rates based on race. So yes, in the vein of redlining, absolutely.
So the jargon may not be the same, but the practice
The
is
practice
same.
is absolutely the
That's
same.
a fair answer. Did you also break down by gender?
I'm not sure if the report breaks it down by gender or not, but I can pull that and look for you. Yes, I would.
I would really like to, because some of the research that we've done with the Mayor's Council for Women shows that women obviously are challenged, and particularly women of color, and that's something that I would be particularly interested in.
I will bring that information to the working
Thank you.
session.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Nicole. Well, the council is quiet and has lots to think about. So thank you very much for this report. There's a great deal of detail, council, and so I look forward to getting a work session on our calendar.
Great.
All right, thank you.
I look forward to it too. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we are adjourned to 6. We have an executive attorney-client.